Okay.
We are live. Hello and welcome to Cricket Adda presents Cricket Addicts Season 2, Episode 2. Back with the full gang. Joining us on the podcast to start off with is Kevin. Kevin, how are you? First test match done. England take a 1-0 lead. We'll get to that, but first of all, your just thoughts on the test match as to test cricket is back. We saw the WTC final last week. We are seeing the Australia West Indies test get over yesterday, England India. A lot of test cricket is back after a plethora of T20 cricket over the last 2 months.
Yes, good to be back. Very exciting test match it was. All 5 days there was a bit of rain, but I didn't expect the result. I thought somehow India would be able to force a draw, if not a win. And England did what England do, especially in England with the baz ball. They went aggressive. The shots they played, and Bumrah going wicketless in the second innings was surprising. But with the bowling attack, a bit of inexperience at their end. I think I saw that Gill was not trusting the other bowlers that much, and Jadeja also showed that he can be defensive at some time. But overall, it was a really good test match. Lot of positives for India with all the upcoming stars, Jaiswal, Gill, Pant, and even KL Rahul getting a century. So I think if they, let's see what with the second test match, is Bumrah going to play or not play? I think he should play. I think an easy play for test matches, but with the
Mhm.
announcement that they've made that he's going to play only three test matches, it adds to the spice and debate. So yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Amrit, let's go day by day. Day one, India 359 for 3. Everybody thinking this is the best possible start, which it was.
Yeah.
Jaiswal scoring a century, Gill scoring a century on his captaincy debut, and Pant was 65 not out as well. After that, did you think that India would be bowled out for 471? Especially, they were 430 for 3 on day 2, with Pant getting a century as well and Gill batting on 147. Do you think India missed a trick there? 550, 600 probably was on the cards, and India maybe lost that advantage there.
Absolutely. I think India should have gone for at least 600 plus. They're playing really strong at that stage. And I don't know what happened. They just lost. There was a big collapse at the lower order. And I think you won't expect that to happen again, but it happened again in the second innings. So that's a, double whammy effect
Yeah,
that happened.
yeah. Shabby, as Amrit said, obviously that costed India, but what costed India more is the dropped catches in the second innings because at a point it looked like England might get bowled out around that 300, 350 run mark. Brook was dismissed for 0. His catch was dropped on 60. He went on to score 99. Ben Duckett was dropped on 15. Overall, the dropped catches ensured that England were just 6 runs away from India's first innings total, isn't it?
Yep, correct, correct. First innings, I mean, we had a huge advantage because of the 300 scored by our batsmen. So it was really bad that England could reach that much. And I guess in their inning, that there was only 100, right, in the first innings.
Correct.
So I mean, even with that, because of the contribution from tail, they could reach that much, very near to our first inning total. And yeah, catches costed a lot. Again, the bowlers, if I talk about Bumrah, was the lone warrior there in the first innings, and uh, none of the other bowlers could support him. Obviously, we can give one of the things to experience because most of them, Prasid was bowling for the first time. Siraj was coming after a long break in the international cricket. So we can give it to that, but that was not expected. And when the Bumrah is supporting you with the wickets from the top order, then why the other bowlers can't even get down the lower order? That was the least expected from them.
Yeah, Kevin, I think you briefly touched about it. Shabby touched about it right now as well. The bowling attack, very strange tactics as well to some extent. Obviously, Jasprit Bumrah is going to be your main wicket taker. He was picking up 5 wickets in the first innings, but Mohammad Siraj and Prasidh Krishna really struggled. I mean, they are GT boys, played under Shubman Gill, so you're assuming that there is some camaraderie there. But Prasidh Krishna leaking runs at almost 6 runs per over, or I think more than that. Shardul Thakur bowling just 6 overs in the first innings when around 100 overs were bowled. So if you divide that by 5, each bowler should get 20 overs, but Shardul got just 6 overs. Thoughts on that strategy? What was happening there? Because we assumed Shardul was picked over NKR because he can bowl more as compared to NKR. We saw him in Australia, he wasn't able to give those 10, 12, 14 overs probably. And also Siraj and Krishna. Now, Siraj has played 30 odd test matches. He has traveled to England in 2021. He just doesn't seem to get wickets. He just starts talking with the batter and then gets smacked for another couple of sixes. Your thoughts on this whole bowling attack with the with no Bharat Arun as a fast bowling coach? There is Morne Morkel pedigree there, 300 plus test wickets, but what's happening there, Kevin? Because the bowling definitely seems a big worry with nobody else apart from Bumrah able to pick up wickets.
It's a learning curve. You don't make bowlers overnight, and we need to understand that this. If you see the current bowling lineup we have, it's similar. You can say to 2011 when we went to Australia, or even the 2014 series. Relatively inexperienced bowlers learning tricks and the tricks of the trade, as we say. And you need to persist with them. I think maybe Gill missed a trick. He could have persisted with Shardul Thakur. He could have tried him out. Prasidh Krishna also. When you pick this bowling lineup, you need to identify players. You need to have two bowlers who could bowl with a new ball, swing it up. Your third bowler needs to be more of who can back up the first bowler, and he can bowl consistently and keep the pressure on. And for that matter, I feel Siraj can do a very good role as the third bowler. He's much more suited. But when he is given the new ball, he tries to be over aggressive, tries to go for the magic balls, and that's where he gets hit for a lot of runs, and that completely takes pressure off the opposition. So from a bowling attack perspective, I didn't understand what the thinking was. India just went with four bowlers who they felt were best suited for based on the hierarchy and selection protocol. So there is something I feel that they need to try, and I understand the criticism that Gambhir keeps getting when he wants to push Harshit Rana because he feels he has the potential. But you have to understand uh, the game doesn't work purely on stats. You had someone like Akashdeep who was considered a better red ball bowler. Suddenly, Prasidh Krishna has a good IPL and he comes into the mix. So there needs to be some continuity, something to justify a selection. So I feel that if you persist with this bowling, you can go ahead and try them for the second test match, or if you or and just give the bowlers a lot more to bowl with. But if they feel that they made a mistake, then I think the ideal situation would be to drop Prasidh Krishna, get who are you thinking of getting, Ashdeep or Akashdeep? So it's a tough on the you can say on the bowlers as well as the captain, because it's a complete transition. I was reading a post saying that this is all Rohit Sharma's fault because he didn't groom new bowlers. If you say, yeah, he kept persisting with Shami, Bumrah, Siraj. It was the same bowling lineup that came through from Virat Kohli's end. There was no one blooded in. I think he tried to bring in Akashdeep. Don't know what happened with that. Suddenly we saw Harshit Rana playing. So it's unfortunately it's a mess, and sometimes this mess helps you start from scratch. And I think India is starting from scratch. So let's see what are the steps what they do, but it's a process. You just can't expect overnight results. So let's see how they take it from there. And when it comes to test matches, one thing which I appreciate with Virat Kohli, he picked five bowlers, and India needs to pick five bowlers, irrespective of how many runs we get from the tail. That's inconsequential, because if your bowling lineup is going to let the opposition tail wag and get 50, 100 runs, then it doesn't add up to anything. So let's see, how it goes. But I think there were some promising signs, but you need to be patient. You need to be you need to stop going to Bumrah every time there is a need for a wicket. You need to stop. You need to allow the bowlers take a time, and just get into your rhythm, and consistently bowl on the same line and length. Because with England, with the weather always playing a role, conditions are going to change. So you just need to be. It's all about temperament.
Yeah, interesting points there. If Shabby and Amrit can join in here as well, let's continue on this bowlers topic because, as Kevin mentions, it's not an overnight process. I think everybody agrees with that. But Siraj, obviously, everybody knows he has played around 30 test matches, still averages 32, doesn't pick up wickets consistently. Kevin mentions Akash Deep's name. Prasidh Krishna did play the Sydney test. That's why I think based on continuity, he did get this game. But he did pick up 5 wickets in the game, 3 in the first innings and 2 in the second innings. But major part of the innings he was looking ineffective as well. What do you think is the solution here? Because Harshit Rana is going back anyways. He wouldn't have made the 11 with Akashdeep and Arshdeep already in the squad ahead of him. What's the solution here? If Bumrah is not playing the second test as well, things just get more and more difficult for India. Do they bring out in somebody else from outside? Anshul Kamboj is what I'm hearing about. Eh, your thoughts on this whole bowling thing? And as Kevin mentions, 5 bowling attack. Shardul Thakur had to bowl more. That, I mean, nobody disagrees with that. But again, 6 overs 33, I think he has given away. So that's a concern as well. With baseball, it's very difficult to contain runs. How does Gill and Gambhir go about this now?
My take on this is first thing, Shardul probably should have been given the ball a bit earlier because his strength is generally outswing,
Outswing, correct?
so
Yeah.
he could have probably been more effective a bit more earlier. I think he got the ball pretty late in the first innings. Yeah,
Yeah, after 40 overs. Yeah.
after probably 40 overs. Secondly, you talked about grooming bowlers. So I think because of this WTC format, you don't get a lot of chances to, just bring in more players or to take that chance. Especially when uh, you are touring abroad, you need to have your best players. You can't just give the chance to someone new. And at home you don't want to play fast bowlers, you want to play spinners. So usually you won't get the chance, in a format where each and every test adds to your chance of getting into that final. So I think this is a tricky thing. I guess every team now will have to go through this transition. Even Australia will also have to go through this once their current stars retire. England are currently going through this. India are going through this. So somewhere down the line, each and every team will have to go through this, and they'll have to figure out how to go about this.
Shabby, your take on the bowling. What do you see as a possible solution going forward? Edgbaston. We will get to the second test and the possible changes, but just on the bowling overall, what do you think? Who from the outside can make a difference if they come inside in the 11?
I mean, the obvious name that is coming into my mind is Arshdeep Singh, because in white ball format, we can say he's as good as Bumrah these days. He has, spearheaded during Bumrah's injury, mainly in T20 cricket and then after also in ODI cricket somewhat. And obviously, he's a natural swing bowler. So I hope he'll be very much fit in the English conditions. So I'm hoping Bumrah would, Arshdeep would be very good test bowler, and whenever Bumrah is not playing, he is the perfect one to replace him. Obviously, he will take his time to get settled in the Test cricket, bowl so many overs, keeping the line consistent. But I'm very hopeful about him that he will do very well, just because of his overall stature. Overall, he also got a good height, and again, the left-handedness makes it a bit unique. In the otherwise one-sided attack, same type of attack. So that's the one I'm hoping. Akashdeep, whatever we have seen of him so far is he can be on and off. I mean, he can give you 1 or 2 wickets and he can be very lethal somewhat, but then he also has like sack deliveries. He can leak some runs, very much similar to Shardul Thakur, I would say, but bit better than that. But very much similar to Shardul Thakur is Akashdeep. But obviously, we can hope that he will also get a chance. Obviously, when Bumrah is not around, if they also decide to rest Siraj one of the matches or Prasidh, if they want to sack him, so that can be the possible. And I'm hoping both of them will get a game, Arshdeep and Akashdeep in the series.
Yeah, I think at this point, each and every bowler will get a game at some point if nobody is able to pick up 20 wickets. Kevin, we will come to the bowling again. Before that, let's also discuss about the batters. Yes, the pitch was flat all 5 days. I think 300 plus runs were scored on all 5 days. But let's start with the Indian batting first of all. Jaiswal, century on his test debut in West Indies, century in his Australia debut in Perth. one of the toughest conditions for an overseas batter, and now century in his England debut as well. 101 in the first innings, got dismissed by a beauty of Ben Stokes after tea. But just your thoughts on Jaiswal and how talented this guy is. I mean, there is no limit to this guy. We have seen him dominate in T20 cricket. In the IPL, he had a 500 plus run season, and Test cricket he has just taken it as a duck to water. I mean, so for 400s now, and if I'm not wrong, he has played all his 20 games at 20 different venues, and the next four venues are different as well. So it's not like he's playing at the same venue and getting used to conditions. This is just very impressive from Jaiswal, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm very excited for him because one
Let's
he
not talk about his catching, but yeah.
yeah, but one thing you have to give credit to him. He's coming pretty relatively young. I don't think he's played a lot of India A2s, not a lot of first class games. I think 2 seasons he's played, and he was directly fast tracked into the team, and straight came in as an opener. And I have a lot of respect for Test openers and for players who can open in all three formats because I'm not a fan of people who open in limited overs and then in test prefer to bat down the order because if you believe that you're the best batsman of the team, you need to face all types of conditions, and the best way to do that is at the top of the order because if you do well, you set up the game for your entire team and you set the tone and the pace of the innings, and that's what he does. He makes batting look easy for all the players down there, and the amount of hard work this guy puts into his game, I feel that he needs to control his emotions a bit. He seems like an emotional guy and he needs to work on his game. But whatever the performances that he has given India, with these three dead centuries, it is really exciting. And he could have a really good series. I'm looking forward to him having at least a 400 plus season in this England. He can easily do 500, 600. Depends on how he doesn't let his aggressive instincts take over. And when I say that, it means he shouldn't try to get into the face of the opposition and just keep his head on his shoulders and continue playing. But it's very exciting. Left-hander, India wanted that a left-handed batsman post Dhawan to kind of like play this kind of innings, and he has a technique which is very important. It's not all about aggression like Sehwag. He has that defensive game to bite time, and that is what makes his batting look very exciting. And he complements KL Rahul really beautiful because both of them, the partnership. I always like when I compare Test match batting, I always like to see how batsmen play in partnerships because you don't let the opposition bowlers think they have a chance, and that gives it plays on the mind of the opposition bowlers, and they give you these easy freebie balls, and helps it makes the batting look much more easier. So him and KL Rahul, the partnership that they have stuck through is the key why India has been able to get those big scores. Unfortunately, the middle order has not been able to capitalize on that. So the Karan Nair will be feeling the heat. There's Jadeja, who I don't think he had much to do because the tail should have trusted him. But besides that, I'm very excited about Jaiswal, and I had my doubts because with Jaiswal, he's relatively young. People don't know what to, they haven't seen a lot of him. Whatever they've seen is through the IPL, but people will start figuring him out, and I hope that doesn't happen because with Rani also, when he came in first Test match, I think was it Lords and second Test match, Lords in 2014, and by the third Test match he had a century and 250s. But in
Yeah.
the next three Test matches, he got nothing, and he didn't even finish with 300 runs at series. Ended up with 299. So with Jaiswal, he needs the bowlers are going to figure him out. If you see I would say that the bowling lineup that English played in the first Test match on that wicket was maybe a weaker lineup as compared to what's going to come going forward. So let's see how he is tested, how he responds to the with with Archer coming back, how he responds to that, and that will tell whether he's a good batsman or he's going to be a great batsman.
Yeah, Kevin did mention briefly there about Archer coming back. That's gonna be a test for Yashasvi Jaiswal with Vokes and probably Archer taking the new ball. We'll get to that, but before that, Shabby, if you are there, the captain and the vice captain as well, delivering with 3 centuries between them. Gill getting 147 on his captaincy debut, and then Rishabh Pant getting 2 centuries, one in the first innings and another one in the second innings, 134 and 118. Your thoughts on their batting? Obviously, Pant has been there, has scored runs before, but Gill, it was his just fourth test in England and probably his first in a proper series. He had played those two WTC finals and that fifth test at Edgbaston. But on his captaincy debut to score 147 on the first day, he was fantastic as well with the bat, isn't it?
think he might have
Yeah, yeah,
gone away.
yeah,
So yeah, Gill was fantastic, being his first test in charge as captain. Probably would have liked to convert it into a 150,
yeah.
but again, very good performance, and giving a bit of glimpse of some elite number fours that we have had over the years, and I hope it continues. His batting gives more confidence to his captaincy, and he's able to bring that josh to all among all his players. I hope that happens.
Sure. Shabby Amrit talked about Gill. Your thoughts on Rishabh Pant, 134 and 118, 252 runs of total in the two innings. He was looking really good at number five. He mixed aggression and caution. He has good defense as well, but suddenly he used to come out of his bonkers and hit a ball for a six or a boundary straight down the ground. Second ball of the innings, smashing Ben Stokes down the ground. Stokes having a laugh, understanding that this is exactly how he himself will bat at times as well. So, yeah, your thoughts on that? Two centuries, not an easy task. I think he joins a list of elite batters. Sunil Gavaskar three times, Dravid a couple of times, Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane as well, and Rohit Sharma as well. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely insane. I mean, that was actually unreal for an Indian batter in English conditions to score a century in both the innings and with such attacking attitude. One of the main thing that we saw about him that I mean, getting promoted to number five, he had a chance of moving to number six as well. But
correct.
in the press conference itself, he clarified that Gill and he will bat at five and six. Four
Four
and
and five.
five,
Yeah,
and that just really showed the confidence he has in himself and his batting skills. Because we have Karun Nair, who is like proper batter. He should bat up ideally if we look from the outside perspective. But that showed his confidence, and he absolutely proved that on the field with his performance that he is capable, very much capable to bat at number five. He's able to anchor the innings. He's able to play with the tail as well. And more importantly, the innings that you play after you reach 100, the daddy hundreds that we call them, those
yeah.
are also very important in test conditions. Reaching 150 is more than that, and he has done it many times. But really great to have his consistency now, and he's really becoming a very great test player with such consistency, and hoping for such great performance from him.
Yeah. And I am specifically asking this to Amrit because I know he's a big fan of KL Rahul. KL Rahul, finally, it seems that he has nailed his spot. 137, that second innings knock. I mean, it can't get classier than that. Those offside boundaries, those cover drives, the timing, the placement on those ones, and then obviously, as we know, he has a defensive game. It just looked a flawless innings from KL Rahul. I know there was a dropped catch from Harry Brook or Ollie Pope. I am not sure who it was at Gully, but 137. It looked like he was batting on a different level. I know there were seven centuries in the game, but none classier than what KL Rahul showed us.
Absolutely. I think I read a stat that of all the Indian batsmen who have played since 2020,
Hmm.
he has had the least luck in terms of dropped catches. So it finally seems that luck is finally on his side, and he's starting to get those big scores. We saw how disappointed he was after his dismissal in the first innings. Uh, but really happy to see him getting the big knocks. uh, Now he's a very responsible senior member of the team, and he has started to uh, show that responsibility, and of course that will also give him more confidence while fielding. And it was really impressive to see him hit those classy cover drives. And as we I think we also discussed that form is temporary, but class is permanent. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a display of that.
Yeah, and hopefully he has a big season here. 5 test matches, mostly flat wickets. If he
Yes.
open, if he bats like what he did in the first match, you never know. We might be in for a very big season for KL Rahul. Kevin, despite those 5 centuries, India had two major collapses: 41 for 7 and 31 for 6 in the first and the second innings. You briefly touched upon Karun Nair. Probably a little bit of heat on him. Yes, first test match after 8 years. There will be nerves. Zero in the first innings, 20 in the second. And as you mentioned, Jadeja probably he could have scored a lot more runs, but by the time he was there, the tail already got dismissed in both the innings. I mean, he couldn't do much because there was just a collapse on the other end. But your thoughts on this collapse? Sai Sudarshan as well, if you just quickly want to talk about him on his debut, zero in the first innings and 30 in the second. Obviously, both of them, I would say, definitely play the second test. But will there be heat on these two players, or you're seeing them for at least 3 or 4 tests in the series before making a call?
I'm not sure because I'm surprised that Karuna, was given the opportunity at 33 to make a comeback. But now, if you've given him a comeback, you can't
Mhm.
just drop him after one test match or
Yeah,
even after two test matches.
correct.
If you really value domestic cricket, really value the runs that he has brought in, then you really value his experience. And if you have a guy who's was experienced enough at 33 is making a comeback, then you trust him. Definitely, you trust him for at least four test matches. And based on the result of the fourth test match, because by the time you know whether you won the series or not, then you decide do you want to persist with him or not. But at least you need to give him four test matches to at the most three test matches. Like if it's a 3-0 and you lose the series in 3-0, then give him three test matches to see what he's offering you. When it comes to Sai Sudarshan, I feel I really liked what I saw of him. He seemed much more technically compact. And this is where I think there needs to be a conversation within the dressing room as to when you are in a good position, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get accelerate and get more runs, or are you trying to bat time? Because in these conditions, your your best you can say the best your goal should be to tire out the opposition bowling because it's a long test series. It's a 5 match test series. So the more you bat, the more experience you're building. And this is something that India did in that first test match. They're well ahead in the game. They batted as long as they could so that they could set the tone for the future test matches. And this is something that India should have been careful of. And they can still correct this in the further test matches. If you're in a good position, take your time. You can play 20 balls and not score a run. It's fine, but don't let the opposition bowlers get the upper advantage. If you see Josh Tang, Bryden Cars, they were under the pump. With India, 200 for four, but India just handed over that advantage by going aggressive for the shots, trying to be trying to play baseball, and they were trying to make a statement. It clearly showed. If they had just batted out time, taken the singles, England would have panicked. And this is where I appreciate Ben Stokes and McCallum because they're pretty confident. They know the opposition batsmen are going to come hard and they're going to get their wickets. So you see that in their field placements. So from the collapse perspective, I feel India can do better. We just shift the blame, saying that we don't have a tail, it's a Doberman's tail, and all those jokes aside. But I think you need to, I think you need to come up with a better strategy because this is your first Test match in England with a new side, and they've been waiting for a transition for quite long, and it is unfortunate that this transition came forced with three senior players just quitting after the Australia series. So you need to this you can just compare these results to 2014 and how India started, or 2013 when India just started scratch. So from the batting perspective, I think Karan Nair and Sai Sudarshan will definitely get another chance. The conditions will be much more tougher, I feel. Let's see what they have to offer. If you saw Karan Nair and Sai Sudarshan, did they both go out for ducks in the first innings?
Yeah, yeah. In the first inning, yes, both got a duck.
Yes. So you see some kind of improvement. They at least got some runs. Let's see if they can put push it to a 30 or a 50,
Sure,
because
sure.
it's difficult to quantify an impact from the runs a batsman gets. Sometimes, surviving is also pretty, you can say effective because I always equate Pujara. the decline of Virat Kohli and Rahane coincided with Rahane, not to that extent, but Virat Kohli's decline coincided with the decline of Pujara, because this guy would bat those tough overs, tire out the opposition. The overs from 40 to 80 are the best batting, you can say the best batting phase for any batting lineup. So if you have a batsman at three who can kind of like take you to that to let's say 80 for two in 40 overs, it's not that bad, because the premier bowlers, they want to rest. You have bowlers 4 and 5 who will be bowling waiting for the second new ball. That's when your middle order can bat, and this is where Punt comes brilliantly into the picture. He can bat at six, but having him bat at number five helps the guys around him. You see the support that he gave Shubman Gill. I think he supported even KL Rahul for that matter. Get their runs. So you have one batsman at the end who's playing aggressive, the other batter is much more compact, and that style complements and makes test cricket exciting. So these are few things that India needs to factor in. What are they going for? Do you need a proper number six batter in case tomorrow Rishabh Pant might just go out for a duck? And brilliant. I don't know what it was from from Sunil Gavaskar will become
Stupid. No,
yes.
after the century,
Superb,
it was
superb.
superb.
So that superb can go stupid again in the next test match. So we're not accounting for the situations where you can see Rishabh Pant going out for the first ball duck. So then, in that case, maybe a compact batsman like Karuna will come into the picture. So this is something that India needs to consider. What are they? Who are they picking for? For what? What is the style? You don't pick the same style of batsman saying, it's a flat batting wicket. Let's get a 1,000 runs in the test match. It doesn't work like that. You need to, if you have an aggressive guy, you need someone who's much more compact. Is Karuna that compact guy? I'm not sure. He has not shown. He's because he to have that game because he's been pretty aggressive. So let's see what India is thinking. Overall, I feel the batting needs to be given another chance. From the bowling perspective, let's see if you want to, what is that role that you're expecting from Prasidh Krishna? Do you want him to consistently bowl short, or do you want someone who can swing the ball? That's where you take a call who you want, Harshdeep or Ashdeep Singh.
Yeah, Shabby, I think you are talking about Karuna's batting position, which we can discuss as well. You think number six is a bit too low for him, which makes sense. He bats in the top four for his side at the domestic level as well. Whether it was earlier Karnataka and then Vidarbha, I have heard he's moving back to Karnataka, but that's a discussion for another day. So, but I think that's the only position which you have right now, right? I mean, the other position is number three. Sai did look decent in the second inning, so probably you will persist with him. So Karunar, if he wants to get a place in the 11, he has to bat at number six. Or are you considering switching positions with Pant, despite him scoring a couple of centuries in the last game?
I mean, that's an unfortunate situation that we have. And yeah, I mean, currently because of the team combination, even the extras we have Ishwaran, he's also top order batsman. Said
Correct.
Dushan is a top order batsman.
Yeah.
Karuna is proper middle order batsman. So when we
Yeah.
talk about middle order, it should be either four or five. But moving to six and again batting below Pant is might be affecting his mental state. Maybe that he had to wait for his chance. And then the attacking play that the above batters are playing, especially Pant, that might kind of affect him a bit on his type of play. That he's a proper batter. He takes his time. He has to play a long innings, which might not be possible sometimes when you bat at six because the tail comes up immediately after him. So those kind of things I'm thinking. I mean, I know I'm might be very early to say this, just a one taste, but
Correct.
I
Correct.
thought that might be going through his mind when he's batting at number six, because that is pretty too low for a batsman who has given you a lot of runs in the Test cricket. I mean, the domestic cricket, and even he has a 300, so he won't even have a chance to have 100 if he's batting solo if the tail doesn't support him. So kind of dependent. But yeah, let's see. I mean, the situation is we don't have anyone else to replace him at number six. And Pant is a vice captain now. You cannot actually say anything ahead of captain and vice captain. He has decided to bat at number five, then he will stay at number five.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's thing I can think of right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the other thing which you mentioned is the partnership before Karun Nair came in was a huge partnership as well in both innings. Gill and Pant had a 200 plus partnership in the first innings, and then KL Rahul and Pant had a 195 run partnership. So, yeah, waiting for a long time, probably that affected his confidence as well. Yes, too early to call anything, just the first test match, and he did score a 20 in the second inning. So, let's wait and watch in the next couple of tests how he can deliver at number 6. Amrit, just a quick word on the England batting. Joe Root scored a 50, Stokes scored a 33 or something in the second innings. Despite that, I mean, considering these two are their big stars, obviously the others are as good as as Root and Stokes as well. But Harry Brook 99, Ollie Pope 106, Ben Duckett 149, and Zach Crawley 65 in the second innings. I mean, this batting, and not to mention Jamie Smith, looked good in both the innings. This batting lineup looks really, really dangerous for India, especially with the bowling attack India have. I mean, if Bumrah is not playing, England might be 400 for 3 on day one, considering the way these batters bat. And they just look to be in great form, especially in home conditions where the pitches are flat. After 40 overs, the ball gets soft, and there's nothing for the bowlers. Duckett, Crawley, you have Pope, you have Brook, you have Stokes, you have Root, and Jamie Smith. This is a deadly batting lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And considering these flat pitches suited for baseball, almost all the batters are coming in with good contributions. Uh, and that is something that we would like to see from India as well. When you get such good pitches to bat, you should be looking to score at least, 30 to 40 runs, if not 50 or more. But coming to England, I think uh, they they have been making good use of the pitches that have been given to them. Uh, I think finally we have Duckett, Crawley, and Pope who have been able to perform well against India. I don't think they had good scores against India before this series, and that's why I think all of us had written them off. As when we were discussing about who could be the top scorers, we either said Root or Brook, but these three have also, somehow uh, came into the picture once again. So let's see. I think it's home conditions as well as the pitches doing their work.
True, true. The baseball pitches, as we had discussed last week or a week before that, that the pitches are going to be flat. This is what we are going to get throughout the series in most of the venues, except for probably Lords or Manchester, where the ball might swing. But Edgbaston definitely flat. Oval has been flat, and Leeds was flat for 5 days as well. Before we move on to the second test, just a quick thought on this if anybody wants to jump in here. Gautam Gambhir, since he has become India's head coach, India has played 11 test matches. They started off with a two match series against Bangladesh, won it at home. Obvious, we are expected to win that. A whitewash against New Zealand. Whitewash against New Zealand. India lost a series after 12 years at home. Whitewash, they didn't even win a single game. BGT 3-1 loss. The only game we won was because of Jasprit Bumrah's magic. Obviously, yes, Jaiswal and KL Rahul scored runs, but Bumrah was key to dismiss Australia under 150 at that Perth test, and now in England as well. Three of the legends have retired. I don't believe that there is no role of Gautam Gambhir in that. Ashwin has retired, Rohit Sharma has retired, Virat Kohli has retired, and India has lost the first test at Leeds as well. 11 matches, 3 wins, 7 lost, and 1 drawn. Should there be questions on Gautam Gambhir, or it's still too early to make a statement on his coaching tenure?
Yeah, I think, I mean, there should be questions because it's the third series that we are in overseas. No, not overseas, but if we do badly in this series, and which is expected, so that will be New Zealand, Australia, and England. So obviously you have to question him, right? Because you have to separate the white ball from red ball. Okay, India have won the Champions Trophy, but that's a white ball game.
Correct. Correct.
and basically Gambhir has been roped in because of his white ball heroics as a coaching in
Correct.
IPL or maybe other credentials that he has. So all about white ball cricket. So he has nothing to, I mean, nothing to maybe
Show in
prove or
red.
show in the red ball cricket
Yeah.
as much. So have to question him if there are three series and those are going bad. Obviously, the New Zealand was like debacle. I mean, that was unexpected. But somewhat you can blame it on players as well who could not play spin, who could not take New Zealand's wicket consistently. Our spinners who were kind of tapering off that time. So you can't blame it on players. But Australia, we were expecting a lot, but that was really bad to have 3-1 there. And now England, I mean, looking at the conditions, what we discussed, it can be 5-0 as well. We never know. It is looking really bad. So you have to question him on this thing, and we have to take some decision after this particular series, England series, if at all something goes very wrong. Uh, 2-2 or something like that is still okay, but if something goes very wrong, like 4-0, 5-0, then we have to take decision. And I don't know how much supportive BCCI is about the split coaching. Now we are already having split captaincy, so let's also test about split coaching and just like England have a separate coach for white ball and red ball. So that experiment can be taken here if at all BCCI wants to have that approach.
Kevin Shabby makes a great point, and I have been in this favor for a couple of years now. Split coaching, just like there is split captaincy, because Gambhir, as Shabby mentioned, has white ball credentials. He won the IPL as the KKR mentor in 2024. He helped LSG qualify in 2022 and 2023 as a mentor. But his red ball credentials, absolutely nothing, because he hasn't coached any domestic side for that matter. So if this series goes as badly as Shabby is mentioning about a 4-0 or a 5-0, should there be thoughts about a split coaching as to a red ball coach and a white ball coach, where Gambhir can continue as a white ball coach, but they should think of somebody else as a red ball coach? Your thoughts on this?
It's a little difficult because there is a famous quote saying that man cannot be a slave to two masters. So I'm not sure how it is going to work with, because we need to understand one thing, that a lot of these players are multi-format players. So if you have two coaches, let's say, I have someone like a Chandrakant Pandit who's the test coach, and I have Gambhir for white ball, and a player like KL Rahul, he's confused. Do I prepare? When do I prepare for test? When do I prepare? Like if Chandrakant Pandit tells him, this is a routine that I need you to, have in place for the test matches, and and Gambhir says I want you to play in this particular format. Are our games spaced enough that a player has enough time to to adjust and adapt his game to two different styles of coaching? Is something that we need to explore, because suddenly now we are having this concept of split captaincy, which was not there. Luckily, it doesn't matter that much because the captains don't have that much say in limited overs. Especially, the only say comes on the field. There's nothing that happens in the back. But when it comes to practice matches, the trainings, the sessions, all these things are the calls that are taken by the coaches. So having these two different coaches, I'm not sure how it's going to work, because with India, execution can be a little bit challenging, because the world stops when we play IPL. So everyone's completely focused and driven for that tournament. But after that, then suddenly we're not that concerned. Just to avoid the you can say criticism, we didn't telecast the practice matches. Although there were news about who did well and what were the stats and all that, that's circulated out, but still, so I'm not sure how it's going to take place. One thing for sure, that the way I see the board running the game currently, and I'm talking about the BCCI, is that you brought in Gambhir. Why did you bring in Gambhir? You brought in Gambhir because you wanted a strong Indian personality to phase out the senior players out. You know, so that has been achieved. Okay, uh, now you have a guy in captain who seems to be someone who I can say is easily controllable, or you can say is more obedient, and through whom you can run the game for some time. And this is something which I don't know if it's good or bad, because you here is a captain, Shubman Gill, who had no prior experience to captaining, just 6 games, I think, first class games.
Yeah.
And you had an incumbent guy in Rishabh Pant, who had been performing really well and who was at the cusp of getting the vice captaincy in 2023 for the BGT. And just because an unfortunate injury, that has got delayed now to maybe 2027. He was the most you can say performing player that you had before his injury. So I'm not sure as to what the management is thinking. Definitely when it comes to transition, you're going to see these kind of performances. And to evaluate a coach, you need to see what the team was when he got the team and how is he going to leave it. And you also have to give him the benefit of doubt, or you can say a little bit of freebie, understanding that these are all players that are going to be playing for the first time in England. If you have, I think this is second Siraj's second tour. It's Bumrah's third, but Kuldeep hasn't played much. Washington Sundar hasn't played. This is, I think, Jadeja's fourth tour. So he brings in that experience. So if you are considering dropping him, makes sense because you don't expect that from a senior guy. Karun has, this is, I think, his first tour. He's playing KL
Right.
Rahul. It's his third tour, but Sai Sudarshan, Jaiswal, even Gill for that matter, this is the first tour. I think Gill just played one test match, if I'm not wrong. I don't think he played the 2021 series. So you need to you can empathize with the coach for that matter, and you need to see how the players are doing. Shubman Gill comes in number 4, does well, scores a century. KL Rahul gets pushed to opening at the top of the order. He brings in that solidity. So from those aspects, you see there seems to be something good that has happened. Even this Reddy, whom we backed, got a century in Melbourne, if I'm not wrong, and it's just died down because he had a poor IPL. But I'm saying that whatever he brought in, they have done well. Even Harshad Rana impressed in that first Test match, which India won in Perth. So the calls that he has taken are definitely, they haven't been shot for 36 all out or 120 all out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has it happened?
46 all out. 46 all out at Bangalore
No,
against
no,
New
but I'm
Zealand.
saying,
Yeah,
yeah, but that was a home test match, and
correct.
that is unfortunate. But I'm saying in the overseas test matches, because
Mhm.
we're going to judge him from the overseas test matches. The New Zealand series at home was that was a shock, honestly. But I think we I think it was coached by Manjrekar, who said that this is New India and this is the way we're going to play. So yeah, but coming back to the
Yeah,
coaching, I'm not coming back to the question, and I'll answer it saying that I don't think having split coaching is going to help, because it's more on it depends on the players whether they have enough time and how they're adapting to. If you see the positives, Jaswal is a big positive. You see Gill, he's been a positive. You see KL Rahul, he's been a positive, and Rishabh Pant has also been a positive. So
true.
from the batting, that is sorted. From the bowling, now we see if her like unfortunately now Harshit Rana doesn't have the opportunity to deliver, because he was brought into the squad and now he's been pushed out because this guy, he's become the envy of all the older siblings because dad loves him too much. So let's see how it goes from there. From the bowling perspective, India gets one positive, be it a Kuldeep Yadav in Test in this series, or even Akashdeep for that matter, or even Arshdeep for that matter. It will be a positive. But this bowling lineup, I'm not sure. It's untested because you had Mukesh Kumar was consistently in the mix of things prior to 2024, and then suddenly he's disappeared. So
Yeah,
yes.
that's a valid question as well. Where Mukesh Kumar has gone? He right now enjoying the birth of his first child. But yeah, moving on to the second test now at Edgbaston, Birmingham. India last played at Birmingham in 2022, the fifth test of the series. And guess what? England chased 378 in that game as well. So you know what to expect there. There are reports, Amrit, that Jasprit Bumrah might not play the second test at Edgbaston, and it does make sense to a certain extent. He bowled over 40 overs in this match, and considering that it's going to be flat, probably it's best that India play him at Lords. But at the same time, there is a huge chance that India go to 0-2 down after Edgbaston, and the series is almost done and dusted. But let's talk, Amrit, about the possible changes. I think the batting remains the same. You can't change the batting. Top 7 remain the same until Jadeja. 8, 9, 10, 11. What are the possible changes you are looking at? Thakur, let's say Bumrah is not there. Who do you bring in for Bumrah? And are you considering a change for Thakur or Prasid or even Siraj for that matter?
I would say Thakur should be given couple of more chances.
Hmm.
He's an experienced player. He has played in England before. He has delivered, and he probably was not shown that much confidence by the captain or not given the proper opportunity. But I think we saw in the Gaba test as well, where there was no major senior player in the bowling apart from, I guess, uh, Siraj was the one leading the bowling attack.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think in opportunities like these, uh, players like Shardul can stand up and deliver. Uh, if Bumrah is not playing, I would say we can have a look at Arshdeep. Uh, he has been good in white ball cricket and probably number two after Bumrah in the hierarchy of things. Uh, he has had also a very good IPL, so perhaps he can carry over that form to Test match. Who knows? For Prasid, I would say uh, I'm not that sure on Akashdeep to bring him in. So let's see. I think we'll give one more chance to Prasid as well.
So you're just suggesting one change at this point, Arshdeep for Bumrah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shabby, any chances of Kuldeep getting a game here? There are a lot of talks about wrist spin being a weapon against baseball on flat wickets. He did trouble England in India, although in India, in those 5 test matches in 2024, which India won 4-1. Kuldeep for any of the fast bowlers, or is it too of a gamble at this point? Because if you remove a fast bowler with no Bumrah, then that's just two fast bowlers probably. That becomes a huge gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, correct. I mean, Bumrah being not there is already a huge setback for a fast pace attack. So I don't think they'll bring Kuldeep in the matches where Bumrah is not there. So I also feel that there will be straight swap between Bumrah and Arshdeep in the next match. If Bumrah is taking rest, and I'm hope that it is almost certain that he is taking rest for the second because Lords is the more important. And so Arshdeep would be getting a chance over Akashdeep. I'm feeling just to have that pace in line, the swing conditions, the pace conditions that Arshdeep brings in. So perfect replacement for Bumrah. Akashdeep can kind of replace Prasidh Krishna later on if they decide to drop him somehow, or even Siraj or Shardul. Akashdeep can replace them. Shardul, as Amrit said, Shardul will get a one more game definitely. I feel because NKR is also nothing much to offer in bowling terms, and that's what we want more actually. Batting is kind of looks sorted. So in bowling terms, obviously you expect Shardul to anyway deliver more than NKR. So he will get one more chances, and he'll have to perform a bit in terms of batting also, just to cement his position, Shardul Thakur, because that's what he's known more for. So that is also expected from him to score some quick fire 40, 50, or even 30s. That is expected from him. And batting lineup, I guess the only two positions that are kind of under scrutiny would be Sai Sudarshan and Karun Nair. But as of now, they'll get one more chance, I feel.
Yeah.
But if Sudarshan doesn't deliver in this match, I guess Ishwaran can be brought in. My take would be should be brought in.
Interesting, interesting. Kevin, Arshdeep for Bumrah is what the panel is suggesting. You have any other options?
I would. Are we really confirming that Bumrah is not playing the second Test match?
No, we don't have a confirmed news, but that's what is going around. He didn't practice yesterday. He was just warming up, going through his training drills. So we're assuming that he probably might not play, considering that it's a flat wicket and already he bowled 40 plus overs in the first test.
It's disappointing actually because you are best strike bowler. If suppose you lose the second Test match, so are we expecting India to win the last three Test matches? So I'm
That's
not.
definitely not happening. If
I,
India
I,
lose the next, it's pretty much the series is done and dusted.
but just coming back, like this
Mhm.
decision to play only three Test matches, is it something the doctors advise Bumrah or
Yeah.
it's Bumrah's personal call?
No, I think from what I heard in the interview with DK, he said that the doctor did talk to him and said that he has to manage the workload, and at most he can play 3 tests out of the 5.
Okay. Disappointing because I feel if you have a bowler like that who's
Mhm.
only available for 3 test matches, I think India needs to start then planning for games without Bumrah, and we just use him as an X factor, like because you can't plan for with such a player. It's like having a sniper, but you can only use it once. So it's might as well prepare your attack without this guy. So if that's the case, then definitely you want someone who can swing the ball. So you go with Arshdeep, and your second bowler definitely has to be Mohammad Siraj, and for your third pacer, I feel. It's tough actually. If Akashdeep can really swing the ball, then I would like to have Akashdeep and Arshdeep bowling with Mohammad Siraj coming as the first change pace bowler. So these three will be my bowlers. And from the batting perspective, I don't mind going in with Kuldeep and Jadeja both, because
So
when we
Kuldeep for
talk,
Thakur is what you're suggesting.
yes, I'm suggesting Kuldeep for Thakur, because why I'm suggesting is that is from a bowling perspective, I have to take
Mhm.
10 wickets. I need 10 good balls,
Correct, correct.
and who seems better option for bowling those 10 good balls. I feel it's Kuldeep Yadav, for
Yeah.
that matter. Look at the runs
Just
that
just with the number of catches being dropped, probably 17 good balls.
yes, but if I was thinking about those drop catches, and I see most of those drop catches were induced by Jasprit Bumrah,
Just remember,
for
yeah.
that matter.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there was one, I don't remember who I know Jaiswal dropped ducket when he was a 97. Who was the bowler? Was
That
it
was Siraj. That was Siraj.
yes,
But apart from that, it was mostly Bumrah who got
yes.
those chances. Yeah.
So from that matter, if it's a flat wicket, I definitely would like Kuldeep, because he, that you feel, even though if he might go for 100 runs in, let's say, even uh, 20 overs, for that matter, or even 15 overs, he goes for 100. He definitely has a better possibility of taking wickets as compared to Shardul Thakur. So, and once Siraj is done with his first spell, he definitely is going to bowl like the Shardul Thakur type balls, bowling at 130. So might as well, why not take the gamble? And that's where the call comes as to, if you are going with this plan, do you want Karunare at number 6? But if not Karunare, who do you have as a backup? Is it who's more technically sound? Is it Nitish Kumar Reddy, who seems more technically sound, or is it Dhruv Jurel, for that matter, who looks technically sound? Just as a backup, in case we require someone who can has the ability to bat with the tail, and I don't think Karuna is that player. He seems more fit for a number 4 role, at the max number 5 role. So it's tough, but from the bowling perspective, I would definitely go for these 5, and more technically sound batsman at number 6. If Karunar is the guy, I would definitely support him.
Yeah, Shabby, you want to add something here?
So, I mean, just asking about Kuldeep. So, yeah, as Kevin rightly said, he will get smacked for runs. So, I mean, how different it is than Shardul Thakur then? I mean, sh- he can be very expensive in T20 cricket as well, Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah.
So, are we just expecting that people will go on to hit him, and then somehow he will induce catches? Are we expecting such kind of results from Kuldeep Yadav?
So when it comes to Kuldeep Yadav, uh, how do I say with Jadeja. When I ask Kulkarni, who's the player at short leg, and he's like, India didn't have a short leg when Jadeja was bowling. Definitely when Kuldeep is going to be bowling, you're going to have a lot of players around the bat, and that is going to put pressure. It's going to be like more like a, I don't, like an India type kind of like a situation where have a lot of players around the field, forcing the batsman to go ahead and go for the attack. When Shardul Thakur bowling, it's more of you expect him to bowl those wide balls, short balls with fielders around the boundary. With Kuldeep, it's going to be more different. You know, they can have one, two guys on the boundary, but have a lot of close-in fielders. That that is a different way of exerting, and you're taking the singles completely out of play. What happens is when you have someone playing basketball, you want to have players much more you say on the boundary, and you allow the batter to rotate the strike and get out of the pressure situation. With Kuldeep, that's not going to happen. It's either going to be a dot ball or it's going to be a 4. It's either going to be a wicket or it's going to be a 6. So you're playing with that. You're gambling with that. So last time in Lords in 2018, I think it was the last time we played in England. That was
Yes, that was a green wicket,
yes, it was
4-day
on.
game.
I'm not sure if it was green, but I know definitely India. It was raining when India was batting, and it was
Yes.
bright sunny when England was batting. So that
Folks scored a century.
yeah, Vokes got a century, Bairstow got 95, but India won that game till those two build up a partnership.
Yeah.
So that this is where I feel like Kuldeep can play and he should play because he would have the psychological advantage over England. But it all
Yeah,
depends.
I agree with Kevin there. I would put in my point of view as well. With Kuldeep, what you have is wrist spin, and some of these England batters, say a Brook or a Pope, might not be able to read him off the hand, which could cause even more concerns. The only big issue is if India are bowling first, Kuldeep and Jadeja bowling 30-35 overs on day one doesn't make sense because there might be some swing on offer with the new ball, then that becomes an issue. If India are bowling second, if India get to bat first like they did at Leeds, then it would probably make more sense because Kuldeep and Jadeja can come into the game on day five, obviously, but before that on day two and day three as well. So that would be a major question which the captain and the coach need to answer. If we bowl first, do two spinners make sense on a flat wicket where probably there will be a little bit for the pacers to start off the test. So yeah, that's the only concern. But yeah, if India are bowling first, bring in an impact player rule in Test cricket, says Amrit. Probably that, probably the
We,
concussion is the
yeah,
solution for
we,
it.
we could explore that. I was reading on ESPN Cricket Forward that some new rules have come into place, and there is a concept of an injured player completely being subbed out.
Yeah, yeah, but that is they're testing it at the domestic level first, and that injury has to be an external injury. It can't be a stomach pain or or a hamstring pull as well is not allowed. It has to be an external injury where the ball hits you, or something like that happens, or you just fall down while diving or something like that. But that they're testing it at the domestic level, and then probably they will think of bringing it at the international
I
level.
think internally there should be fun giving classes to all the players. He can't sub out with cramps, but definitely he can have Jaiswal or someone cramping after he's batted to have someone. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, just last thoughts on the England side. Jofra Archer has been added to the England squad. If he's fit, which I'm guessing he's fit because he's being added in the squad. Amrit, who does he replace? Tung or Kars or Vokes for that matter?
I would go with cars because tongue has been very effective in cleaning up the tail, especially.
Hmm.
Uh, so they would continue with tongue, and I think cars would get dropped. I think cars only came in because Gus Atkinson was injured.
Correct. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think cars will be the one to go. And I'm actually wanted to add that we're really looking forward to see Jaiswal versus Archer, given
Archer.
that both have played together in the IPL, and Jaiswal especially would love to, uh, go for those bouncers from Archer. So really looking forward to see that.
Yeah, Archer will definitely add up some spice into the game with his
Are we
bouncers.
are
Yes.
we having one more comment of you're bowling too slow from Jaiswal?
who said that too? I missed it.
Stark,
Start,
Stark
start.
Oh, okay.
at Perth. But he scored a 161, so it definitely worked in his favor. Shabby Archer for Cars, you agree with Amrit there?
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I mean, Tung. I did not follow Tung very much while England was falling, but I guess he was better than Cars. I guess, but Cars did produce few wickets, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just
You got
looking at the scorecard.
Jaiswal and Gill in the second innings with some good balls. So yeah,
Yep, yep. So might be Tung as well. I mean, they'll decide among those two whom to. But Tung got four in the first inning, is what I'm just saying. So
yeah,
possibly Cars is what I look. Cars might be the one.
It depends because Kars is playing as an all-rounder, so I'm not sure what role is assigned to him. But I think
We really
definitely.
need more all-rounders.
So yeah, because with how do I say, they have that one bowler who they like 90 kilometers per hour to bowl in the middle overs, especially that
yeah,
third seamer.
yeah,
Now, are they looking at Archer for that position or they're looking at Cars? So there is where that call will be taken because Josh Tongue only plays when Wood is unfit, else he doesn't play. They consider him as that first change bowler. And Ben Stokes bowled 20 overs in that first innings, and I was really in awe of him. Like how can an all rounder be that fit especially when he is, always going through some injuries. So commendable, because he added that he was the difference between India and I'll say England's bowling lineup. That's some bowler. And coming back to India's planning, I don't mind even Shardul Thakur being the third pacer, but it depends on how they want to use him. And Gill showed absolutely no confidence in him in the first test match. So you could consider him as that third bowler and bring in Kuldeep for Krishna. That is also not a bad option, but it depends on how the captain wants to use his bowling options. Definitely, it was Dhoni. Then I'm sure he would have used both the spinners. And Dhoni, I don't think Dhoni captain Kuldeep. It would have been exciting to see
Yeah,
Dhoni captain
yeah,
Kuldeep, Ashwin, and Jadeja in a test match at home. But let's see, like Gill,
yeah.
what Gill
With Dhoni
prefers.
by the fifth test, six spinners would have been in the. I mean, he would definitely would have picked Sundar and Kuldeep and Jadeja for the fifth test by the fifth test,
Yeah,
because the pacers are not delivering.
would have had Sundar batting at three instead of Sai Sudarshan.
True. True. So Archer
Okay.
will definitely come in, is what everybody thinks, and it's fair. That's the reason why he's been added to the squad. That's it for the India England test match. Just quick thoughts: India going 0-2 down after Edgbaston, or are India making a comeback? Shabby, let's start with you. 1-1 or
So I'm
2-0?
taking I'm taking the third route. It will be draw.
Draw because of rain, says Shabby. Amrit, your thoughts?
I think it will be a close match, but I think England will win this one.
Kevin,
As the conditions apply, if Kuldeep plays, I'm supporting India. If Kuldeep doesn't play, I think it'll be 2-0. And it'll be one-sided, I feel. If Kuldeep doesn't play, I think it'll be one-sided.
one-sided. Yeah, let's see. I think it's 2-0 for sure. Whether it's one-sided or a close game, that's the only thing to see. But without Bumrah, I don't think India can win a test match in England. Let's see. On the other side, Australia have defeated West Indies as well. A lot of controversial decisions, but at the end of the day, Josh Hazelwood, with an underrated spell of 5 for in the second innings, made sure that West Indies do not take a 1-0 lead. So all the talk about Australia not being there, yes, the batting was under a bit of question with no Marnus, no Smith, but I think Head has scored a couple of 50s. Webster has scored a 50, and then Carey has scored a 50 in the second innings to ensure that they get over 300. And West Indies were not good enough to get that much in the fourth innings. And the women's game is also going on. India women playing the England women. India women have got a good score there on the board. So hopefully we can get a win there. So both teams are touring England, and the under 19 team is touring England as well. And Vaibhav Suryavanshi scored 48 of 19. But what was more interesting was in the first game, India were 5 down pretty early, and they still got 442, which was just insane. These young boys are right there. Suryavanshi seems to be a really exciting talent. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, we might see him in India colours in the T20 format, obviously, not talking about the others. Hopefully, we'll be back for the next week after the next game is finished. 2nd July to 6th July is when the game happens at Edgbaston, Birmingham. And Shabby, as we have heard, will be at Lords for the third test from July 10 to July 14. So if you are at Lords, do catch up with Shabby on Cricket Adda. Thank you very much. Do like, share, and subscribe, and keep on watching Cricket Adda. Thank you, Shabby. Thank you, Amrit, and thank you, Kevin, for joining.